Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Regroup Podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Kristen Ward. Kristen is the CEO of Energi Nutrition and a very special business person. Kristen, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit further?
That's about it. I'm Kristen Ward, and I am the owner and CEO of Energi Nutrition, and we make health and wellness supplements, all natural products for people to keep them healthy. We're very much into fitness, which so many people are, but our motto is you can't be fit unless you're healthy. So we've created all the natural supplements to help give your body the nutrients that you're not getting from your food supply these days to help your body do what it needs to do to help heal itself. So when you do actually go to the gym and start putting all that effort in, you can see the results as opposed to fighting that hump that so many of us fight.
I want to know, what did you do before you started your organization? And then how did you decide to start it? What was your motivation?
Well, I actually, my husband is a contractor, so he owned a contracting company and I owned an entity setup business. So I kind of just worked from home, setting up business entities for a few years. But prior to that, I was in the medical industry. I worked with a plastic surgeon, with medical spas, and just got a lot of knowledge on beauty and health. And fitness was always mine and my husband's passion. And so we were like, we want to help people. We want to put people in a position where they can be healthy, protect themselves.
When you first started to start up the organization, did you have any big challenges? Starting up a supplement company seems like a bit of a hurdle.
Oh,
What what was like the process there?
so many. Well, before we actually launched Energi Nutrition, we worked on it for like 7 years. So this is not one of those things where we just said, hey, we're just going to buy some supplements and throw some labels on them and put it out there. We actually went through and wrote formulas and worked with R&D teams and went out to different manufacturers to see what they offered, how they manufactured their product, what testings they did for it, all of the things that really matter in an all-natural product. Believe it or not, there is not a lot of people out there that are doing that. They're just buying whatever is being mass-produced. There's so many supplement companies that are going on to Alibaba and buying products from China, and they're throwing an American label on it and saying, well, it's packaged in America. Well, yeah, it's packaged here, but it wasn't made here, which means their testing is, they're not testing for all the heavy metals. And that's something that we do. We make sure that our products are tested across the board for any kind of microbials, any kind of heavy metals, anything that can help contribute to the downfall of your health as it is.
That was one thing I read when I was preparing for the interview. About 80 to 90% of supplements are either manufactured or source their ingredients from China. Why do you think that is? And then is that necessarily a problem if you have the right testing?
It's cheap, which is why they do it from China. If you're bringing the product in and you're getting all those testings done, the problem here that we're starting to see going forward is all the issues with China, right? So what's going to happen in the future with these products that you can go out and buy a bottle for $5 when it costs me $8 to make it,
Mm-hmm.
The reality is if you're buying something for $5, it's been sourced somewhere where it's incredibly cheap. Potentially they're not doing the testing on it because the reality is the testing is really expensive. That's what causes products and good products to be a little bit higher in cost, because you don't only test the finished product, you test every single ingredient that goes in. So I have a mega multi that has like 25 ingredients in it. Every one of those products gets sent out when it's a raw ingredient and and each one of them gets tested for their efficacy prior to us blending them. And then after the finished product is done, we have to send the finished product off for testing. So if you're doing, say, just zinc, you're sending off say it's a $500 test to do just zinc. Okay, you can spread $500 across 5,000 bottles easily.
Yeah.
But if you're doing $200 to $500 for 25 ingredients, because that's what you really need to get into your system, without buying 25 different bottles, which is what we pride ourselves in, is we have really good blends that have a lot of really good ingredients in them for what you need. So you're buying 1, 2, 3 products for literally everything, as opposed to 5, 6. I have friends that have 17 supplements, 25 bottles of supplements that they're taking. They're like, I can't take them every day. So I just try to take some one day and some the next day and some the next day, which is just not as always as beneficial as it could be if you could just get it in one bottle with 2 or 3 capsules.
Yeah, it seems like a better deal. I mean, I even have trouble taking my supplements. I have tons of bottles, and the ones that I end up taking are the multis, and some of the more important ones. Just on the manufacturing topic, you mentioned China being an issue. It's my understanding that a lot of American manufacturing has gone over to China, but more recently there's a push to bring it back by both economists and politicians, specifically because of like supply chain breakdowns and I guess some testing issues, quality issues. Do you feel that there's like market pressure or industry sentiment trying to bring manufacturing back? Do you feel that at all?
I definitely do. It doesn't affect me because I don't do it. That's not something we do at all. It's an ultimate no for us.
Yeah.
But I see the pressure that's going along the industry lines where it's out there. You know what I mean? I don't pay as much of attention to it because, again, it doesn't apply to me. I'm not looking to do the cheapest product and sell as many of them as I can. I'm looking to do the best product that's going to benefit you the most and sell to the people that need it, want it, and need it. My issue going forward with the whole getting products, sourcing them from China because you can get them for pennies, right?
Yeah.
That problem for me is you can't test their bottles. You don't know what's in their plastic bottles. You don't know if there's an ingredient being put in that can then heat up, and then the transporting of those bottles. And you get your product into the bottle, and then you start transporting them during the summer. The bottles heat up, and those chemicals can bleed out into the products. And we're talking about veggie caps, right? Like they can absorb.
Yes.
To me, that's a problem. But the bigger problem is we're doing testing for things that we know that are there, things that we know we should be looking for. What if something happens that we don't know what to look for and we don't know how to test for it? And
I hadn't considered that there might be other, foreign materials that you might not necessarily look for, and that wouldn't be discoverable on like a full spectrum test. That's interesting. Are there suppliers of raw ingredients for supplements within America or North America, I guess, that are reputable and relatively cheap compared to China?
Yeah. Nobody's as cheap as China.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. They mass produce everything. So you can go to China and get probably anything. But you can, we source all of our ingredients from the United States. And even some of the United States, they will source from other countries. Like India, they have a few ingredients that the United States does source from on a regular basis.
Would you ever recommend anybody get into the manufacturing game? It seems so difficult, like getting into manufacturing, going through all the loopholes and
it's wonderful, but if you have zero experience, I would say either partner up with somebody that knows what they're doing, knows the ins and outs of it. I mean, because right now, like we started the podcast, we're talking about energy nutrition. But after we started Energy Nutrition, we actually purchased a manufacturing facility so we could manufacture all. So we actually have control from the very top. Like, not only do I have the control in my supplement company, but we have the control with the manufacturing facility too. So I know where nobody can get one over on me because it's my company, right? we source our own products. We blend our own blends. Like, so we have a lot of transparency. Basically, we can see everything. We know exactly what it is. So when you talk about manufacturing, that's on a different side. If you're talking about starting a nutraceutical company, I mean, listen, if it's your passion and you've got something that you think is going to help somebody, I think do it. Almost anybody can do that, right? And I can help them with that because we can R&D your material through complete packaging. But if you're wanting to start a manufacturing facility, there is a lot to it. I would say run if you don't know it.
It's probably good advice.
Yeah, when I got into it, I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Was this a great idea? Now going into it, it's like, it's wonderful because I do have that transparency, and I can, without a shadow of a doubt, exactly what is in my product and what I'm selling on the retail market. And that makes me feel good.
How long did it take you to learn the ropes of the manufacturing game? Not necessarily supplements, but just getting the manufacturing part and supply chain stuff figured out.
I'm going to say I still don't know it. I was lucky enough to have a few people that came with the facility that I purchased that were just phenomenal, and they knew it all. And without them, I would know nothing. But I've had the opportunity to get to know it a lot. But I would still say it's
good to be a learner, keep figuring things out.
I think I'm going to end up learning with this for the rest of my life. Like, every time I come across somebody new in the manufacturing realm, it's such an eye opener, and I love learning it. Like, it's so wonderful to learn all of it, but it's a lot. And some days I'm like, I can't talk to anybody anymore. I can't take in any more information. And we have so many wonderful supplements because the more I learn, the more I want to put out to, the industry, the clients, and I'm like, I've got to stop. I'm like at 100. I've got to stop.
So, man, it seems like things are going well, but what are some challenges that you have right now in building your business, from, the operations, manufacturing, marketing, ideas, strategy? What are your issues right now?
So many.
All of the above.
All of the above. Like, you have, I mean, from sourcing materials, like raw materials, to bottles and lids and bands, and like the supply chain, that kind of was very like for a while. And then marketing, like, that's just a 50-50. Like, sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not. You just got to you're throwing, money and time and effort into whatever new marketing strategies out there to try and get it to work. And what was the other ones you said? Because I'm sure I've got a few.
Marketing, operations, supply chain, manufacturing, strategy.
Operations. Oh my gosh, let's talk about operations. So when it comes to operations, right, you have to have a team. Like, this isn't something that I can like grab my kids and be like, hey kids, we're gonna go and stuff. Like, so you have to have a team that's knowledgeable. I'm lucky enough that my core team is very solid, very experienced, very knowledgeable, and very willing to work. But then we have like a secondary team where it's like the hands-on, moving things, getting things done. They don't necessarily need to have all that knowledge, but they need to have the willpower, like the desire to come to work and work.
Yeah.
And after COVID, it's a completely different workforce.
How so?
What you were hiring before, you could hire, say, a man that wanted to work, wanted to show up, wanted a job, and he would take a decent pay for it. And now it's like the workforce that's out there, they're a much younger crowd. They don't want to work. They don't want to. They're like, can I do like 8 hours a week? And not because they have another job, like that's just all they want to do. And that makes it really, really challenging because I don't like to have people turn over. I don't like to question in the facility or who's doing what. I like to know, oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so does that, so-and-so does that. And they're great at it, But if you have people that are coming in and they're only working part-time, or they're sick all the time, which I think is like code for I drank too much and I wanted to sleep in. So it seems like it's a different workforce. And because of the inflation, costs have gone up so much. So not only the cost of raws, the cost of the components, the bottles, things like that, but then the cost of the workforce. I mean, it's almost doubled in what it used to be 3 years ago. So there's definitely challenges along the whole entire everything. And I think that's why I like the nutritional portion of it so much.
Yeah.
And it's like a website, right? If everybody over there is doing okay and doing their job and making sure things happen, the website, it's like you just go to energynut.com and you can get whatever you want. And I don't need a workforce for that.
Yeah.
That makes it easy.
How big is your team, if you don't mind me asking?
So for Energi Nutrition, there's 4 of us, and for the manufacturing facility, there's about 20.
Wow, 20.
Yeah, so there's a lot to handle, and I mean, and I'm a small facility, so I mean, some of my other manufacturers that I know, they have 100, 200, 300 employees. So I'm like small on the scale compared to some of these really big ones. But I think that's why our clients like us on the manufacturing side, because we are smaller, so we're more personable. So when they call, I have clients that text me. They're like, I'm wanting to do a new product. Can we just chat about a new R&D something? And I'll sit and give them all the information I have on what they're trying to achieve. And they love that, because it's like talking to your neighbor or your friend that's giving you the knowledge for free and then offering the place to have it made for you.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. I get to hook them up with their designers for their labels, and after I do help them with their R&D, I have an R&D guy that we have in house that he then is way more educated on it than I am, and just puts in all the FDA requirements and all the amounts and how much it can go in a capsule, and I don't want to do that. That's not fun for me. But he's amazing. He's been doing it for 30 years.
So I want to ask a little bit more about your products and your product lines. So first question is, what are your top sellers?
Oh, I knew there's so many of our top sellers, but let me see. We'll look at some of these up here. So which category? Because I could categorize. So we're talking about fitness stuff. I'm going to say keto salts, MCT oil, magnesium glycinate. Those 3 are just powerhouses for helping you. And the apple cider vinegar gummies. Apple cider vinegar gummies is actually one of our top sellers because it goes across the whole entire board. You can use it for fitness because it helps with belly fat.
Interesting.
With appetite. It really keeps the body flowing. So it keeps you with that healthy gut, but it's not aggressive like probiotics and enzymes like that. So super gentle on the system, but very effective. The elderberry gummies, those are for immune support. They help with anxiety, depression, just all around trying to keep the sniffles away. Elderberry is really good for that. But the MCT oil, it's got all those healthy fats. And for me, I take those. A lot of people are so amped up on like pre-workouts. I don't love to put in, and let's face it, 90% of the pre-workouts, and we have some, I love them, but 90% of the ones on the market, they're garbage. They have so much filler and a bunch of caffeine. It's like, you could just drink a couple of cups of coffee and get the same effect, right? Without all the fillers, it'd probably even be better for you. But people don't see that because they like that fruity taste and all that. I take the MCT oil and I take it with beet powder capsules. So we have beet powder capsules. I take those 2 together and it is a phenomenal, like, I don't know what it does, but the amount of energy that it gives me. And I don't feel like I'm on that, like that jittery caffeine. I like a lot of them do. And I never get that drop. like you do with manufactured kind of stuff that's like caffeine, things like that. I like the natural caffeines, like ginseng, things along that line, because you don't get that drop off after 1:00, or you finish working out and you're like, okay, I need a nap now before I go on to start my day. Like, that's the worst.
MCT is a very interesting supplement oil. I felt very different when I was taking that. I have new stuff that I take, not as good as the old stuff that I had. It was a totally new experience the first time I took it.
Really?
Like a ridiculous amount of energy I got. You feel like very alert.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it, is you're more like aware of what's going on around you. But for me, with the MCT oil and the beet powder together, I can go forever.
Yeah.
Which normally, if I don't take it, I'm a couple exercises in, I'm like, oh, I'm already kind of fatigued. But with those two, I don't fatigue. I can work out for 2 hours straight, and a hard workout, and I never get fatigued. And that's what I like, because I don't like halfway through my workout feeling like I'm having to mentally push myself through the rest of it. That's horrible for me, because I'm weak, right? Like, I'm leaving. If I got to force myself to do this, I'm leaving. I had to force myself to come. I'm not going to force myself to stay.
So it would, your top for fitness, what would be like the top 3 that you would take specifically for fitness and muscle gain, let's say?
Keto salts. I would take keto salts. I would take the MCT oil, and I would take the magnesium glycinate.
Okay.
Those 3 too for fitness stuff. And then again, the beet powder is something that you can take that at any time. Or you can drink beet juice. You can eat beets. Like, they're superfoods. So when I can put them in a capsule and take them without having to shove my hand down into that powder and it gets all over me, and it's so convenient, I guess I should say. But a wonderful result.
Yeah. What would you say are the top pain points that your customers express that you try and solve for with your supplements? So do you try and mostly cater to like fitness, and then what are, like, if it is fitness, what are those people specifically asking for from a supplement?
So we actually pinpoint more, we gear more towards health and wellness as opposed to fitness. But most people that are doing the health and wellness are looking to crawl into fitness. So we have fitness stuff. I use it. I love it. But our health and wellness is really where it is. And the people that are in fitness, they're all looking for the same thing. They're all looking to get rid of inflammation. They're all ready to get rid of fatigue. They're all looking for, so for pain, it's the inflammation. And for me, anything that has with inflammation, we have our MSM, liquid and flakes, which is a powerhouse anti-inflammatory. Our liquid, you can even drop it into your eyes. And when you have allergies, and it will get rid of those allergy symptoms because it gets rid of the inflammation. And it's crazy the way that it works, but I do MSM in my drink prior to working out. So I do my beets. I'll either do beet powder or beet capsules, and I'll mix some. I take my multi-collagen because, of course, we want to stay young and beautiful and pop our hair on big. And so I take all that stuff prior to me working out. And the MSM, the multi-collagen, and what was the other one that, joint complex. Okay. We have a joint complex. Yeah. So we have turmeric, which is really good for inflammation. And when you mix MSM and turmeric together, I think that it's great. But we have a joint complex that has more of a blend in it. And I use the joint complex with the straight MSM. And that for me works wonders. And if I do feel any pain, I use white willow.
So willow. What is white willow?
See, nobody really knows about this, but white willow is the natural substance, the natural plant that aspirin is derived from.
Oh, interesting.
So when you take white willow, it's almost like taking a baby aspirin.
Mm.
So it will help it'll help with blood pressure. It will help. Now, obviously you can't take too much of anything, even natural. Too much is still bad for you, right? But you could take a little bit of white willow every day. It helps keep your blood thinner. It helps keep your blood pressure down a little bit. But what it does is it helps keep those aches and pains away naturally. So it's just this natural substance that kind of works like a painkiller. I mean, it actually does work like a painkiller, but it's natural. So wonderful.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't take it every day, but if I feel like my elbows or my shoulders are a little achy, or my knees, I will take white willow instead of taking, say, aspirin or Tylenol or ibuprofen, which then goes in and destroys your gut health. And now the new thing out that everybody's learning is how important gut health is, and trying to take all these things to get their gut healthy. And I'm like, you need to start taking things out. Stop putting more things in and start taking things out. Advil, Tylenol, ibuprofen, all of that stuff. That's going to be the number one thing they need to remove because it destroys your gut.
You think so? All the painkillers?
Oh, I know they do.
Yeah.
They can actually kill you over a period of time. So taking any of those, taking any kind of ibuprofen or Advil type of supplements, any of our painkillers, if you take those every day, you're literally destroying what's going on in your system. And that was a big thing that one of the doctors that I used to work with, he wrote a bunch of books on like hormones and things like that are good for your system. And the studies that he did on what ibuprofen does to the body once it's into your system is crazy. And I never thought that it could be that dangerous, but on a daily basis, it's super dangerous.
Do you work with people personally? So do you do consulting? Do you like work with like gyms or nutritionists that sell these items? Like, what's your interaction with customers like?
So any of the nutritionists or the coaches that use our products, I coach them on what our products do, what they can do. And that way I help them choose the products they want to sell out of their facility. But I don't work with clients one-on-one, although I do work with every client to some degree one-on-one at some point, but that's not what I'm around for. That's what I end up doing because I'm passionate about it. So when people have questions, I'm like, oh, I know the answer. Let me tell you. Let me give you something. Take these 3 because together they do this, And so I do end up doing that, but that's not really what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's not generally what I do. It's just ends up being what I do because it's who I am. I just like to offer the information.
I'm curious about the feedback loop because like being able to talk to the customer and get a pulse on like what the current trending issues are, like if everybody's talking about their gut health, I guess that's coming through. Is it nutritionists and doctors you talk to? Do you have like do you read market reports? Like how do you feel out what the next products or what's like most needed?
I get tons of information sent to me from everywhere. Of what's trending, what's going on, what's happening. And I honestly, in all the time that I've been doing this, I haven't had to go out and like create a new product because the reality is we have every product that will cover just about anything. So when gut health came out, I have at least 5 products for gut health, So I'm like, I've got that covered. I have enough knowledge about it and I know how it works because of my husband had the worst sensitive stomach his whole life. And until I started working with him on some of these things that he takes and some of the things that I had him stop taking, he doesn't have stomach aches anymore. And he had them every day. He had something going on he even went in and got like an upper GI and a lower GI because he constantly had stomach issues and he doesn't have them anymore. And taking out the Advil, he bodybuilds, so he lifts heavy weight, things like that, right? And it is, he's getting older now, and I'm like, you can stop. Like, you're done. You're big. Okay. We get it. You can stop. But he loves it, right? Because now that's his passion. That's his drug, is lifting. But it takes a toll on the body. And he would, even then at a younger age, would take Advil, anything that would get rid of that pain, over the counter stuff. And when I got him off of that completely, and I got him on the white willow, and these are the three, you're going to laugh. So I forced him. I'm like, you're going to stop taking that stuff. You're going to take white willow. You're going to take prostate, and you're going to take our Ben's virility. And he takes those three products within 30 days. He's like, my elbows have never felt better. And he's like, I'm sleeping so much better because I'm not getting up in the middle of the night to go pee anymore, which is what he was having to do before. Mm-hmm. And so his life is just so much better just off these three natural products, because it enabled him to take out the over-the-counter painkillers and put in something natural that thinned his blood already, which seemed to give him more energy. And then the prostate and the virility, which goes in, and it's really all a combination, both of them, those two, of just men's health in general. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of things out there for women that help us with our ovaries and our everything that comes along with that. Well, these two products, that's what it does for men. It just goes in and helps everything about that, being a man. And he sleeps better. He urinates better, so he doesn't wake up in the middle of the night to do it, and his aches and pains are gone. So it's been a life changer for him.
Wow.
And I've gotten those same results back from tons of men, because once he did it and I got his results, because just so you know, he's a super skeptic, right? He says nothing ever works. So when it did work, I was like, oh my God, I got to get it out to everybody. And I called everybody I knew, and I was like, I need your husband to try these three products. And every man that has tried it, they've loved it. They've said, I feel better. I can't even describe why I feel better, but some of them did correlate it to getting a more sounder sleep, because of the fact that they weren't getting up the night to go to the bathroom.
Is there any source of trusted information or any thought leaders that you look up to for figuring out what you should do? So obviously nutrition and supplement stuff not obviously, I would guess that supplement stuff is very personal and you kind of have to take what you need. But where do you find that type of information? Is there guides online? Would you want to talk with a nutritionist in like your local area? How does a person figure out what's right for them without wading through a ton of information online? And it seems like it's impossible to find, really, really high quality stuff you can trust.
It is. I personally here, I'm in Utah. So I have a company that I work with called 7 Point Nutrition, and they have coaches, and that's all they do is help you with their nutritionist and their trainers. And so they write these like how to change your life packages. But I'm friends with a lot of them. And so I have that in for that. Like, hey, what are you seeing that's working for such and such? And that's where I have some personal relationships. I also have like a couple of nurse practitioners and a couple of doctors and a couple of weight management specialists that I kind of just interact with all of them on a regular basis, talking about products that we have, products that I'm thinking about doing, what they're doing. And a lot of them, they do blood tests prior to suggesting any of our products. So they have this big view, right? They're getting to look at blood tests and see where these people are lacking. So they know what to give them the best benefit for their dollar. And I always suggest, like, if you're chronically ill or chronically fatigued, or if there's something chronic going on in your life, taking a supplement's just not going to do it. You're not going to go online and find the information you need. Like, you need to find a specialist. Now, if that's a coach that does, or a nutritionist that does blood work first and then discusses it with you, or if that's a doctor that does Western medicine and discusses what your vitamins and minerals and those are the things, because that's where I tell everybody to start. I say, your blood work done, full panel, find out where you're missing and all of your vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, and then have them check your hormones. Then check your hormones, because you could take a supplement that supports your adrenals, and that could be the one thing that you need, because it could be your hormones, but you may not need hormones. You might need a supplement to help support your adrenals, which helps get all your hormones out. We have our THELP, which helps support the thyroid without having to go take thyroid meds, So these are things that you can try. But I never shy away from a doctor. If you're having chronic illnesses, if you're having problems, definitely see a doctor. If you're just having fatigue where you're just feeling like you're getting old, that's not how you're supposed to feel. That's a lie. That is a lie that the community has perpetrated to everybody, that when you get old, you're supposed to be tired and slow and all this. I'm 53 years old and I go faster than almost every 30-year-old on the planet. But and it's not that I haven't had any of those issues. I have, and I did for a minute even sit down and go, well, I'm getting old, I just need to sleep more. That's not really is not what it is. It's that there was something missing from my diet, and I eat horribly. So I need to make sure I'm checking my supplements and putting the right nutrients in, so my brain keeps functioning the way it always has.
Do you follow any type diet outside of the supplements? No keto or anything?
No, keto is a hard diet to do.
Yeah.
I eat more along the lines of keto anyways, because I do prefer a higher fat diet, but I don't do that on purpose. I do it naturally because that's what my body likes. That's what I need. For women, it's really good for them because women actually need higher fats for their hormones. It actually helps us be not crazy. Higher fat really kind of keeps the crazy away for women. And you've seen keto, it works.
Yeah.
For us, I use the keto salts. If I feel like I need to get a kick in my diet, I use the keto salts to throw me into ketosis to burn body fat without having to do the diet, because dieting sucks. I don't care what anybody says. I can diet, but the minute I'm like, okay, I'm 2 days in, I'm like, I'm starving. I eat all this stuff. And the reality is I don't. It's mental. I'm not starving. I'm just not eating the stuff that I really like, which is hurting my feelings.
Yeah.
And we mentally sabotage ourselves. So that's why I encourage people. I'm like, try to get on the supplement train, try to check your hormones, get all that stuff in check first, and then talk about a diet. Because so many people do these extreme diets, and what it does is it really hurts your system, because you cannot extreme diet forever. That's why I love these coaches, like the people that I interact with, because they do a lifestyle change. They're like, let's see how much of this you need and this you need, and then you can still have some sugar and some whatever. I mean, I went through them and I had them do it for me, and because I'm super picky, I've always been against dieting, because I'm like, I eat like a child. Like, this is going to be for me. I don't eat vegetables. So he wrote it for me. And I am a firm believer that one night out with your girlfriends or your guy friends, whatever it is, especially when you're married, that you need to get out one night a week and you need to just get it all out and say whatever you want. And I drink on that night. Like, I'll do Taco Tuesday. So we have Tuesday taco. And I always drink tequila. And he's like, well, you can't have it. You can't have any alcohol. And I was like, no, you have got to write this where that day is still there, because I'm willing to have a lifestyle change, but I'm not kicking out the one night out of the week or every 2 weeks that brings me pleasure. Like, that's not going to happen. So he actually wrote it in for my cheat night to be Tuesday nights where I ate tacos and drank tequila.
It's probably that one night which like gives you the push to do the rest of the more extreme.
100%. Because I'm like, listen, on the weekends, we all have families. We're trying to get everything done that we couldn't get done during the week that we were working. And we need one night away where nobody wants anything from us. As wives and mothers, when anybody needs anything, they come to us, right? And we love to do it. But there's a time where we're like, we need to sit down and have somebody bring us food. Let them serve it, let them bring it, and that's it. And just chat with people that don't want anything from me. And so to me, I'm like, that is so good for everybody's mental health. So when I had him do my lifestyle change diet, he added bubble, which worked out really well for me, and then I could stay on it. Had I not had that, I would have cheated anyways.
Yeah.
That's what we do. There's people out there can do it. I'm not one of them.
Yeah. I think I might be in the same boat. I tried to follow pretty extreme diets a couple of times, not for weight loss or anything, but just for health. And I couldn't keep it for more than like a year. It was just too difficult. But I've seen other people that can.
A year, you're a champ.
Well, yeah.
I can do it for 3 months.
Yeah.
I think that's why lifestyle change programs are so much better.
Mm-hmm.
First, you're not extreme dieting. Second, you're slowly changing your habits little by little. So then your old habits are kind of getting out one at a time, and your new habits are coming in one at a time. So even in the end, if let's say you had 10 things that you really needed to change for your health, 5 of them stuck and 5 of them didn't, right? 50% is a really good change.
And you're still in a better place. Yeah.
Now, when you start again, you're at a better place. So now you start again, say 3 months, a few months down, and then you work on those other 5. And so for me, it's about longevity. Not what can I do today that you're going to see tomorrow, but what can I do today that you're going to notice in 5 years?
Well, speaking of longevity and long-term planning, I want to speak to the future of Energi Nutrition. What are your, let's say, 2-year, 5-year, 15-year goals for the business?
They're so big. Well, first, in the next 2 years, we are going into distribution, which means that we will be getting distributed across the United States and all the different stores, grocery storoers, things like that purchase from distribution. So that's my this 2-year goal. And my 5-year goal for the company itself is I really love the white labeling of products. Mm-hmm. And so I really want to have people that are so aware of our products that they're wanting to come in and say, I love these 5 products. I want to white label those products, and getting them out like that, So although that's part of manufacturing, really, that's kind of one of my goals for Energi Nutrition, because the supplements belong to Energi Nutrition. Mm-hmm. And they're such great blends that I would really like to share them with people that, the really big companies that are currently doing them and their blends are just kind of mediocre. I'd love to see them coming to me and getting white labeling these products that I've already created, so we can just start getting a better quality of product along the lines out every website, instead of just mine. That's kind of where I'm at.
Before you answer the 15-year plans, do you think that if you did offer the white labeling service, would you be one of the more premium companies to do that? Like, are there any really high quality premium white label supplement brands out there, or are the white label brands not as good generally?
The majority of the white label brands out there are very basic. It doesn't make them bad, and there are some companies that do a good job. Mm-hmm. But they don't. Most places, well, nobody in the United States white labels any of the complex blends that I make. Nobody does. There are some out there, and I mean, I've went through so many manufacturing lists of what they do for white labeling, and it's pretty basic. So it's people having to buy 15, 20 bottles to get in what they need into one day without all those fillers and all the crap that comes into some of these products. Mm-hmm. But no other company is manufacturing the blends that I have. That's very specific to my company.
Yeah. Interesting. And how long do you think it would be before you're ready to move forward with that?
I'm ready now.
Oh, you're ready now?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just getting it out there and letting people know that that's an option, right? That's why I say 5 years, because you have to crawl before you can run and
Yeah.
get in front of people. You're kind of just crawling to get in front of people, and then people start noticing you, and then all of a sudden you're running, right?
Yeah.
So it will be the exposure of getting these wonderful blends out in front of people.
You probably need those big names a couple of times, and then everybody asks like, "Oh, who's your supplier?" And then it just snowballs from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So by the 5-year mark, I'm hoping that that's where we are. As for the 15, I don't know. I mean, I'm 53 years old. Like in 15 years, I want to be retired. So I either want to create all my goals within the 10-year time and sell it to somebody that has the same passion as I do, or I mean, I have my oldest son is 32 and my middle one is 28. And then I have a younger one that is 15. So I have 3 boys that are also very passionate about it all. By then, I'm hoping I can turn it over to the young minds and let them bring in some new stuff, you know?
That's super exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. But if they don't want to, then I say, let's sell it and retire, because that's the age I'll be at.
But for supplements, do you think you could sell to, well, I mean, I guess this is far away speculation. Would you be able to sell to one of the big chains, big manufacturers, or would you be looking to sell to a smaller private business, an entrepreneur or investor?
I could do either.
Could do either.
The facility is big enough that it could go to somebody that wanted to just get started, and it has a good clientele. So if I just wanted to just sell that off and even just keep Energi Nutrition and just keep running Energi Nutrition, I could do that, but I would have to put in the contract that I would still get full transparency to every product that they made for us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
'cause I really love that part. But it also would be good for a larger facility to purchase to just add to what they're currently doing, you know, machinery, the building, that kind of stuff.
All right, Kristen, you've been a fantastic guest. I've learned so much more about nutrition, manufacturing nutritional products, and just the the business of nutrition is just fascinating to me. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your experience. Is there anything that you want to shout out before we wrap up?
Well, I just want to promote energinet.com for all the products. There's so many. I'd love for everybody to go on there and check them out. And Complete Packaging. Like, if somebody out there is interested in starting their own product, come see us. Like, let's get together and talk about a new product that maybe somebody's thought of that I haven't thought of yet. Let's create it and let's get it out there and help the public. But energinet.com for sure. But you have to spell it the right way.
What's the spelling?
It's ENERGINUT.com. So it doesn't have a Y. It's energy with an I at the end.
Perfect. And I'll make sure that that's linked in the description wherever this podcast is recording. Kristen, thank you so much. Everyone go to energinet.com and get yourself some amazing products, or, maybe start a partnership. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye-bye.